It wasn't supposed to go down like this, but then, again, things rarely go how you plan when you're staring down the barrel of desperation. I didn't steal $100 million for the thrill, or to live like some kingpin in a penthouse. I did it because my best friend was going to die. His name was Zane. We grew up in the same half-lit alleyways, dodging busted streetlights and broken promises. If anyone was more like a brother than a friend, it was him. Zane was always the kind of guy who'd hand you his last meal and joke about being on a new diet. We survived everything together. Foster homes, gang threats, sleeping in abandoned train cars when shelters turned us away. So when Zane got diagnosed with late-stage leukemia, and the best shot he had was an experimental treatment from a private institute in Zurich that cost $3.8 million, I knew I had to do something. Anything. But here's the thing. I didn't have $3 million. Hell, I didn't have $30 to my name. I was coding gigs for sketchy startups, building firewalls in basements, and dodging student loan officers like it was a sport. Then one night, I got a ping, a backdoor vulnerability in a defense contractor's blockchain payment system. My fingers paused on the keyboard. I stared at the code like it had teeth. It was like seeing a ghost. One line of flawed code, and suddenly, I saw a way in. That's when the plan began. I looped in two people I trusted with my life. Kale, a systems dev who used to run ransomware for sport, and Aisha, who'd once spoofed an entire airline's booking system just to reroute a flight so she wouldn't miss her sister's wedding. They didn't even hesitate. When I told them it was for Zane, they just asked, "How much do we need?" We didn't go small. That would have been suspicious. We went for the jugular. 100 million siphoned in microtransactions over 6 hours from various shadow accounts connected to dirty defense contracts and offshore holdings. No real victims, just crooks robbing crooks. We didn't feel like criminals. We felt like modern-day Robin Hoods. But you know what they say? No good deed goes unpunished. At 4:13 a.m., just as Aisha was encrypting the last layer of reroutes, the red alert hit. Someone tripped the trace. A ripple surged through our network. A digital bloodhound had caught our scent. "Shut it down. Kill all access," I hissed. "I can't. Someone's in the loop. Internal system just went active," Kale shouted, his voice tighter than I'd ever heard. "Clean the logs. Wipe the sandbox." Too late. Within minutes, black SUVs were already pulling into Zane Street. I was watching on live feed from our hideout 2 blocks away. "They're not going for us," Aisha whispered. "No," I muttered. "They're going for him." We had hours, maybe less. I couldn't let Zane pay for what I did. He didn't even know. We hadn't told him. How could I say, "Hey buddy, I just committed federal wire fraud for you. Hope you live long enough to use it"? So I made a call to Agent Declan Merrick. Yeah, that guy. The cybercrime unit's worst nightmare. I dodged his digital snare once in 2022, and he'd been after me since. "I know you're listening," I said into the burner. "I'll give you back the money, every damn cent. But you leave Zane alone. He's not part of this." Silence. Then a single response. 10 hours. I hung up. We didn't have 10 hours. We barely had 6. I threw the rest of the team into overdrive. Kale built a timed auto-return script. Aisha loaded a false trail pointing to 3 dummy shell companies in the Caymans. I left behind a handwritten confession sealed in a titanium USB with a sticky note that read, "Don't trust anyone but Zane." At 7:04 a.m., the money was gone. Reversed, rerouted, and redacted from every traceable node. I even took a crypto loss of $2.6 million during transfer bleed just to speed it up. It didn't matter. I wasn't doing this to get rich. But guess what? They came anyway. Not just for me, for all of us. We split. Kyle fled to Guatemala with a false identity and a stack of bearer bonds. Isha vanished off-grid with nothing but a solar-powered laptop and a burner phone. And me? I stayed. They found me 2 days later in a warehouse near the old dockyards, watching a grainy screen that showed Zane laughing on a hospital bed. He'd made it to Zurich. Someone anonymously paid for the entire treatment in full. I wonder who. They didn't even cuff me. Merrick just stood there, staring at me like he couldn't figure me out. "Why?" he finally asked. I looked up at him. "Because he's the only family I've got." They offered me a deal. 15 years, reduced to 7 if I cooperated. I didn't flinch. I'd already done the hardest thing I'd ever do. Everything after that was just noise. Sometimes I dream about that night, about the terminal blinking green, about Zane's voice cracking when I told him goodbye. Was it worth it? Every damn bit. Zane sends letters every month. He's recovering. Studying, wants to be a doctor now, says he owes it to someone who believed his life was worth $100 million. But me? I sit in this cell every night and remind myself that I'm not a criminal. I'm a friend, and sometimes, just sometimes, that means breaking every law you swore you never would, for the people who saved you first.